January 17th, Martin Luther King Day. Most people are off today, and I'm here to give you another pop-up because of some breaking news in my end of the world. It's actually been festering for the past couple of weeks, but there's a new nuance to it. You may have heard, particularly if you live in the East Coast of the United States, about a fellow named Alvin Bragg. Mr. Bragg is a former federal prosecutor who was just elected as the district attorney for Manhattan. That's the core of New York City. New York City has 5 boroughs. Manhattan is the one with all the tall buildings in it, and where all the media is, and where all the financial folks are. Mr. Bragg is the district attorney. That makes him the chief prosecutor for city and state crimes. Well, on his first day in office, which was just 2.5 weeks ago on January 1st, he sent an email to his line prosecutors, of which there are hundreds, saying we're not going to ask for jail time for people who commit crimes unless there's injury to somebody else's body. Wow. Well, that's an invitation for these smash and grab things, to take a sledgehammer to the window of Walgreens, large drugstore chain. 10 people jump through the window or go through the door while everybody is jumping away from the window, steal what they want and leave. These people either won't be prosecuted, or if they're arrested, they'll be released with no bail immediately. And if they are convicted or plead guilty, there won't be jail time. Well, that's an invitation for more people to do more of that because they can get away with it in Alvin Bragg's New York City. Well, Alvin Bragg is not the only person doing this. This is being done by other prosecutors in other cities around the country, most notably on the West Coast in Los Angeles, where a fellow named George Gascon is the prosecutor, popularly elected, but hard left and progressive, and of the view that people shouldn't go to jail unless there's harm to the body. But the Gascon case is actually, or that's not a case, the Gascon experiences have been ratcheted up a level, and that's what I want to talk to you about. Recently, a police officer, an LA police officer, was on out with his girlfriend. He wasn't in uniform. He was wearing a gold necklace, and he and the girlfriend were attacked by a gang. They stole the necklace and they murdered him. So you have an LAPD cop murdered out of uniform and off duty, but still a murdered cop. They arrested these guys that did it. And of course, they asked Gascon to prosecute them as gang members. Now, if you prosecute somebody for murder in California, 20 to 30 years, if you prosecute them as a murder committed by a gang as part of the gang's business, it's incarceration for life without possibility of parole. Well, Mr. Gascon, the prosecutor in LA, doesn't believe in these enhanced penalties where you prosecute someone who's in the business of committing a crime. And so he declined to prosecute these murderers as gang members. Now, the prosecution takes a while. They haven't even been indicted yet. But the sheriff's department was so up in arms at what happened that it went over Mr. Gascon's head and went to the federal prosecutors in Los Angeles. The federal prosecutors in Los Angeles decided that they could prosecute these guys as part of a gang, that the theft of the chain and the murder of the LAPD officer was part of the gang doing business. And then under federal law, these defendants would be either incarcerated for life or even exposed to the death penalty. Now, this is the first time that I have seen this in my career in the legal community, which is a long time, where police have gone above the head of their own bosses, because the police work for the prosecutor, when the prosecutor refused to be aggressive with the defendants. We'll see if this makes its way east and if it makes its way throughout the country. I'm not necessarily always in favor of these enhanced penalties because sometimes you're punishing thought. I'll give you an example. Somebody punches me in the nose and breaks my nose and they get arrested and prosecuted, it's probably 1 to 3 years in jail. Somebody punches me in the nose and breaks my nose and curses me out for being an Italian American. 5 to 10 years in jail. It's the same punch. It's the same nose. It's the same pain to me because the government wants to punish the hate. It's dangerous when the government is in the business of punishing thoughts, and those are used to enhance the penalty. But in the California case, we're not talking about punishing thoughts. We're talking about punishing people for being in the business of robbing necklaces and chains from innocent people and murdering them if they resist. What an awful, horrible business to be in, which when caught needs to be punished to the hilt. And my hat is off to the sheriff of LA County for doing this. Judge Napolitano, Judging Freedom.